And welcome back to Speed Round. I don't even know anymore. I'll check the damn playlist. But yeah, I actually really I think, did I make a separate Speed Round playlist now that I bring this up? Let me double check that real quick. I don't think I did, but I probably should. But anyway, it's the end of the week of Who Would Win, and pretty much technically it's the start of a brand new month and brand new week. But given the fact that the month started on a Sunday, I figured this would make sense to be the last day for the Who Would Wins. And let me I'm just checking real quick. I don't think I've done a speed round playlist at all. I don't think, but I could very well be wrong on that. I'm just really just double checking real quick before I actually get into the matches real quick. No, I don't think I've done a speed round playlist. Maybe I should. Anyway, I digress. So, as always, it's a speed round. The time where I basically take a bunch of verses where the winner would have been so obvious that it doesn't warrant its own video. And just compile them all down to get a bunch of suggestions out of the way. We start with Black Cat versus Misfortune from, I think it's called Skullgirls or something like that. Now, you might have asked also for the, you might have also been asking for the Misfortune from League of Legends. If you were, let me know. I don't know much about this series, but I did look up this character. The problem immediately is that Black Cat doesn't actually have her probability luck manipulation anymore. That's something that's been out of the comics for a long time. She is physically more capable than most average people. The problem here is she's going up against an individual who literally has complete control over their body in many ways, due to swallowing a gem, a special, I think it's called a life gem. They can't really die, at least not in the general sense. You could kill them by destroying their entire body or something. It would just take a lot more effort. Because of this, and because she's a very agile fighter as well, any physical harm done to Misfortune is really going to just be kind of negated. So, unfortunately for Black Cat, it's just a battle of attrition she's going to lose. So, in that sense, I'm going to say Misfortune wins that fight. Moving on from Todd Fulford, Tom Fulford. I guess we're doing that one instead. From Shadow King. There we go. Android 17 from Dragon Ball Z /Super versus Doomsday. Now, I still contend Goku, Beerus, Vegeta, all those multiversal or at least high universal level fighters, they can beat Doomsday. They can. 17 sadly is not that level of fighter. He just does not have the level of power to really do much to Doomsday, honestly. He doesn't have the physical strength, certainly, to do anything to Doomsday. His energy blasts, honestly, as powerful as they are, Doomsday has dealt with worse. And his shield, while impressive, can be overwhelmed by supremely powerful individuals, which Doomsday would certainly qualify as. This just really is a battle that 17 is not prepared to deal with. So, in that sense, by that, I will say Doomsday would be the winner of this fight. Next up, we have from Todd Fulford, Mike Haggard from, I believe, is it Street Fighter? No, it's not Street Fighter. It's, what's the game he's from? Capcom? Is that it? Mike Haggard, hold on. Mike, Haggard. Which game was he from again? He was from Street Fighter. Okay. I think he's from Street Fighter anyway. Movie The Final Fight, no, maybe that's not him. Mike, also known as Haggard. No, okay, yes, he is from Street Fighter. Okay. Which actually doesn't make any sense. Why? Wait, he's from Street Fighter? I thought, I guess him and Zangief do exist in the same one. He wears 90. He's also in the oh, okay. He's a character in Street Fighter universe, playable in the Final Fight and Saturday Night Slam Masters. All right, yeah, because Street Fighter is Capcom. Okay, I didn't know he was in Street Fighter. I knew he was from one of these games, but not Street Fighter. Anyway, versus Bane. Well, Mike Haggard is very powerful, and his lead pipe is something amazing. No, Bane would crush Mike Haggard in the fight. Initially, physically, Mike Haggard could put up a fight, but the minute Venom gets introduced and get the much more intelligent, much physically more powerful, and much more skilled fighter in Bane. Mike Haggard, that's a losing fight there. Unless Mike Haggard can figure out to unplug the Venom, he's screwed. And even then, Bane is still the better fighter. 100% he's the better fighter. If he can beat Batman straight out in a fight, he could beat Mike Haggard straight out in a fight. So, yeah, Mike Haggard could try. Bane just crushes his pipe in his hand. Just, I will break you, Haggard! Boom. There you go. So, yeah, Mike Haggard would lose that fight. Bane wins. Then coming from Mob What If Story, we have Aang versus Korra. This is one of those fights where, yeah, technically speaking, Korra pulls feats off that Aang never did. But let's not mince words here. Aang was clearly the stronger character between the two of them. He figured out how to bend energy before she did. He mastered all the elements before she did, and was a far better airbender, and to many degrees, most of his other bending he was far better at than she was to most degrees, except for water. That's only because that was her natural bending element. He also had a much more level head than she did, and he had a far more powerful avatar state. Everyone kind of agrees with that. Aang was considered like a force of nature when using the avatar state. Korra honestly just kind of uses it like willy-nilly. Beyond that, though, their fighting styles are different too. She's much more aggressive and straightforward, whereas he's much more defensive and reactionary. And if you're talking about a fight of two people with comparable power, the one who actually is waiting for the right moment to strike is usually going to get the better strike in. So ultimately, I would say Aang would be the winner here. I think that his elemental abilities are, especially airbending, are better than hers. I think she's still better at like maybe waterbending than he is, and maybe even earth. But especially because Earth was his natural opposite. But I think Aang just had the overall skill. Experience, too, was a big thing under his belt. Especially if we're talking about Aang in his prime. So, yeah, I would go Aang in that fight. Then coming to us from XV Story, we have Mr. Pickles from the show Mr. Pickles versus Cujo. Now, for those of you who don't know Mr. Pickles wins this fight because Mr. Pickles is actually Satan, or at least a minion Satan summoning hell beasts, all that all the time, and horrifying things happening with Mr. Pickles. Mr. Pickles is a monster. So, yeah, Mr. Pickles. He's a horrifying you're a horrifying man, Mr. Pickles. Horrifying dog. Cujo is just a rabid St. Bernard. That's all he is. And in theory, if he maybe got a quick bite and like shook him and broke his neck, maybe he'd kill Mr. Pickles. But Mr. Pickles most likely has deals with the devils to keep him from actually dying. So Mr. Pickles would win this fight because he just has more terrifying abilities under his belt. So that brings us to our last one. I honestly should have put more on here. I didn't think I'd be done before for the 10-minute mark. This last one comes to us from Killjoy the Clown. That's it. Killjoy the Clown. Well, that's the question. Who won the fight? The Power Rangers versus the Ninja Turtles. Now, this actually did happen at one point in the series. The Ninja Turtles were summoned to fight the Power Rangers. Now, they didn't really win, but that whole fight episode wasn't about them really fighting. They ultimately teamed up and worked together. In an actual fight, who would win? And I'll say this, the Turtles do have a couple things going under their belt for them. They work better as a team as they've been raised as, ninjas their whole life. They're also better fighters. They just are. I don't really think most people would argue that if we're talking about the OG Power Rangers. The only ones who could really maybe take them in a fight would be Jason and Tommy. Tommy definitely could take them in go toe to toe. But in terms of actual skill, the Ninja Turtles would win that. The problem is really what comes down to, they got one extra member on the team. Their weapons are more advanced and more effective than just their standard ninja equipment. And they are enhanced by the morphing grid. They can take a lot more damage than the average person can. As it's explained, when you see those sparks coming off them when they get hit by attacks and they get up, that's actually the morphing grid taking the energy for them. They still feel the pain and the hit, but that's the morphing grid taking the brunt of the lethality of the attack. And the morphing grid can be overwhelmed, but only by very powerful attacks that the Ninja Turtles just don't have under their belts. Add on the fact, like I said, that you still have an extra member on this team, not even throwing Tommy Oliver into the equation. And you basically have one of the Turtles is going to unfortunately be in a 2-on-1 fight. The rest of them are going to be in a 1-on-1 fight against individuals physically tougher than them, which they're used to, but who also have comparable skills in hand-to-hand combat, to be certain. they may not be as skilled, but they're still skilled enough to, be pushing them. And better physicality and durability because they got the morphing grid to back them up. So when you factor all of that in, the Power Rangers still have great teamwork as well. Let me make that clear as well. I think the Turtles have better teamwork and better overall fighting abilities, but unfortunately, the Power Rangers have beaten honestly far more powerful individuals than the Turtles on multiple occasions without even the use of their Zords. So yeah, and this is assuming that the Zords don't get brought into the fray, which to be fair, they can't because the Power Rangers are sworn to an oath of not escalating situations. So unless the Turtles grow in size, they're not bringing the Megazord in. And hypothetically, in a scenario where like Rita or Zed is controlling them and growing them into giant monsters, and the Megazord gets summoned, they're cooked. Like the Turtles are cooked if the Megazord gets summoned. There's nothing they can do against that kind of firepower because they are still just turtles and all that. So yeah. Ultimately though, so I give it to the Power Rangers. This is my opinion though. As always, let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you folks next time. Have a good one.